According to Creswell 2014, qualitative research is an approach for exploring and understanding the meaning individuals or groups ascribe to a social or human problem. The process of research involves emerging questions and procedures, data typically collected in the participant settings, data analysis, inductively building from particulars to general themes, and the researcher making interpretation of the meaning of Islam encourage the use of intellect to explore and understand human experience. Based on Surah Al-Imran verse 119 until 191, researchers are urged to observe, reflect, and derive meaning from the world.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب.
Therefore, qualitative research is a process of using research to investigate and understand science, which is versus in human social life. This study is not only for knowledge but also to build a deep understanding of creation and social reality. Among the differences between qualitative and quantitative research is that qualitative is understanding the meaning, experience, and perspective of individuals, like answering why and how, while quantitative is measuring and analyzing variables statistically, answering what and how much. Next, the data types for qualitative are interview, observation, and document analysis. Meanwhile, the data types for quantitative are numerical types such as number, statistic, measurement, and charts. The last is the analyze method for qualitative if thematic or inductive analyze, while the quantitative analyze method is statistical analyze.
Today I'll be talking about the main purposes of qualitative research. Qualitative research is a powerful tool that helps us understanding human behavior in depth, not just through numbers but through personal stories, emotions, and real-life experiences. Let's explore what it's really used for. The first one is to understand people's experiences. Qualitative research explores how people experience and interpret the world around them. It helps us learn about their thought, feelings, and the meaning they give to events in their lives. The second one is to explore complex or new topic when a topic is new, sensitive, or hard to define. Qualitative research is ideal. It allows researchers to dig deep, ask open-ended questions, and uncover rich insight. The third one is to study social and cultural influences. Our behavior is often shaped by our culture, background, and social environment. Qualitative research helps us to understand how these factors affect the way people think, act, and interact with others. In summary, qualitative research gives us a deep, meaningful understanding of people, their challenges, and their social context. It is an essential approach in many fields, especially when we want to explore the why behind human behavior.
Now, let's get into 4 types of qualitative research methods. Number 1. Phenomenology. Phenomenology focuses on personal life experiences. Its aim to understand how people make sense of an experience. For example, studying how patients cope with chronic illness. Number 2. Ethnography. Ethnography focuses on culture and social practices. Ethnography aims to understand behaviors in their natural setting. For example, observing daily life in a rural village. Number 3. Grounded theory. Grounded theory focuses on building theory from data. Its aim to generate new theories based on participants' experiences. For example, developing a theory about student motivation. Last but not least, narrative research. Narrative research focuses on personal stories and life experiences. Narrative research aims to understand how individuals construct meaning through storytelling. For example, analyzing the life story of a refugee.
Hi, I will tell you about instrument how to collect data in qualitative research. Basically, according to the pattern in his journal qualitative research and evaluation method, data analysis have 4 types, which is interview, observation, document analysis, and focus group. The purpose of interview is to gather in-depth information about participant experience, belief, and perspective. The characteristic conduct 2 open-ended questions, can be face-to-face via phone or online. The purpose of observation is used to collect information by directly watching the behavior, action, or interaction of participants. For example, classroom, workplace, and doing an activity. This method can help researchers understand what happened actually do rather than just what they said. In observation, we have 3 techniques, which is identifying behavior pattern, comparing situation and context, and the last one, categorizing action or interaction. Document analysis. The purpose of document analysis is used to collect and analyze information from existing writing, printed, digital material. This document help researchers gain background understanding support other data. Did you ever know why we use document? This is because to support data from interview or observation, to verify fact, explore contact or threat history development. And the last one, a focus group discussion is used to gather multiple opinion and idea at once to a good interaction. It allows participants to build on each other's response, which can lead to a deeper insight. In group discussion, we typically involve 5 till 8 participants per session, led by a moderator who guide the discussion. Participants share freely and respond to each other.
I will explain about the qualitative research design, how the qualitative study will be conducted. We have research purpose, research question, research objective, research approach, and also data collection. Firstly, research purpose. The purpose of this qualitative study is to explore and understand a specific phenomenon, behavior, or experience from the perspective of the participants. Rather than seeking to test a hypothesis, the study aims to generate in-depth insights and develop a rich understanding of the context, meanings, and processes involved in the issue being studied. Okay, next, research question. The research question is open-ended, guiding the inquiry toward how and why certain phenomena occur. For example, how do secondary school students perceive the impact of student-centered learning in Islamic education? This type of questions allow the researcher to capture participants' views, experience, and meanings they attach to the subject matter. Research objective. The main objectives of the study are, firstly, to identify and describe participants' experience or perceptions regarding the research topic. Second, to explore the underlying factors, themes, and patterns that emerge from participants' narratives. Third, to understand how participants make sense of and interact with the phenomenon in their real-life context. Okay, next, research approach. A qualitative research approach will be used, most likely one of the following. Phenomenology, which is to understand life experiences. Next, case study, which is to investigate a specific case or group in depth. Next, ethnography, which is to explore cultural practices. And then, grounded theory, which is to develop a theory based on data. The approach will be interpretive, emphasizing meaning-making, context, and participant perspective. This study is typically inductive, with themes emerging from the data rather than being predetermined. Okay, data collection methods. The data will be collected using qualitative tools that allow for rich and also detailed responses, such as semi-structured interviews, which is to gather participants' thoughts, feelings, and personal experiences. Next, we have focus groups. Focus groups is to explore shared views and stimulate the discussion. Observation. Observation is to capture natural behavior in context. Next, we have document analysis. And document analysis is to examine relevant written materials, for example, lesson plans and also student work. All methods will involve open-ended questions and flexible probing, and data will be recorded with consents, transcribed, and analyzed thematically.
Now I will talk about example of past qualitative research. First example is a qualitative study on Malaysian academic perception and suggestion on gamified learning. What is this study about? This study was conducted to understand the opinion and suggestion of university lecturers in Malaysia regarding the use of gamification in teaching and learning process. How was the research conducted? The research used in-depth interview as their qualitative method. This means they had long and detailed conversation with several lecturers asking them about the benefit and challenges of using gamification in their teaching. Now we move to second example, which is parent perspective on ECCE, early childhood care and education policy in Malaysia. What is this study about? This study focuses on parents' view and opinion about the early childhood care and education ECCE policy in Malaysia. In simple terms, researchers wanted to know what parents think about the current preschool education system and how it can be improved. How was the research conducted? First, semi-structured interview. The researchers asked parents pre-planning question, but they also allow parents to explain their answer in their own words. Second, focus group discussion (FGD), which is several parents were gathered in a group and they discuss issue and ideas about preschool education together while the researcher listened and took notes.
Advantages of qualitative data. First, help in in-depth analysis. Qualitative data collected provides researchers with in-depth analysis of matters related to the subject.
When collecting qualitative data, researchers tend to probe participants and are able to gather sufficient information by asking the right types of questions. From a series of questions and answers, the data collected is used to draw conclusions. Second is understand what customers think. Qualitative data helps market researchers understand the minds of their customers. The use of qualitative data provides insight into why customers buy products. Understanding the language of customers helps market researchers draw conclusions about the data collected more systematically. Third is enriches data. The data collected can be used to conduct future research as well. Since the question asked to collect qualitative data are open-ended, respondents are free to express their opinion. This leads to the collection of more information. Next is disadvantages of qualitative data. First is time-consuming. Since the collecting qualitative data is more time-consuming, fewer people are studied compared to collecting quantitative data. On the other hand, in time and budget are free, smaller sample sizes are included. Second is not easy to generalize. Since fewer people are studied, it is difficult to generalize the result to the population in general. The last is dependent on the skill of the researcher. This type of data is collected based on information, observation, and focus groups. It is highly dependent on the skills and experience of the researcher to collect information from the sample. Okay, next I will continue about the role of research in effective teaching. In my future career as a teacher, I believe that research will play a powerful and essential role in shaping how I teach and how my students learn. Research helps teachers like me make informed decisions based on evidence, not just assumptions or outdated methods. It gives us the tools to continuously improve and adapt in a world where education is always changing. First, research helps me understand my students better. Every student learns differently, and through research, I can explore how they think, what challenges they face, and which strategies work best for their unique learning styles and background. Second, research improves teaching methods. By reading educational studies and findings, I can discover what works in the classroom, like using cooperative learning, formative assessment, or integrating technology to make lessons more effective. Next, research helps me reflect and grow. I can even do action research in my own classroom. For example, if my students struggle with reading comprehension, I can try a new method, gather feedback, and analyze the results to see what works best. This kind of hands-on research helps me become a better teacher over time. Research also helps me stay updated with current trends in education, like inclusive teaching, differentiated instruction, or developing 21st century skills. These are all important in today's classroom, and research helps me bring them into my teaching practice. Finally, being involved in research shows that I am committed to lifelong learning, and that is exactly the kind of example I want to set for my students. In short, research will not only help me grow professionally, but also help my students succeed. And that is what great teaching is all about. Thank you.
So, from overall conclusion of the qualitative study, in deep understanding, this study successfully provided detailed insight into the participant experience, perspective, and real-life context related to the research topic. Second, key emerging themes. The finding reveal several important themes that are influencing the situation studied. Third, and lastly, contribution and recommendation. This research contributes to first recommendation for improving practices as well as opportunities for study research. Thank you.
Before this, we thought qualitative research was just about doing simple interviews, but while searching for information, we realized there is so much more to it. We found out that qualitative research is actually about understanding people's experience and perspective, not just collecting answers. We also learned that there are different methods like in-depth interview, observation, and document analysis to get richer and deeper data.
Overall, this process helped us realize how important qualitative research is when we want to truly understand behavior and issue in society from different angles. That's all from us. Thank you.